Hello everyone, it's Melanie here with Vintage Hill Studio. I'm so glad you dropped by today. I'll be showing you how to make this fall card with added dimension by using an embossing folder as well as dies. So let's get into it. The embossing folder I'll be using is from Doris, and as usual all the supplies that I'll be using today will be listed on my card blog, so jump on over there to see that. This little pumpkin die is not to be underestimated. It's by Poppy and it creates the most wonderful little set of pumpkins. I'll be using these papers for my card base and these for my pumpkins. Now, one of the best finds that I have gotten recently is this Caterpillar Pro. It is a paper cutter. I had been using my Fiskars as well as a guillotine style cutter, but this Caterpillar Pro has this little lighted area, and the mechanism for cutting your paper is in this little half moon shape right here. And as you slide it up and down against that metal bar, it's a self-sharpening blade. So this is 100-pound cardstock, so fairly heavyweight. And you will see that this cuts through it precisely, and it is just like butter. This is a wonderful tool to have on hand. Now, back to why there's a light along the cutting mechanism. If I show you with this lighter weight paper, you can see how that light shines right through the paper so you can get a precise cut every time. And I'll also take a lighter weight piece of cardstock, and you can see through that easily as well. Okay, moving on to the card. I'm going to start with the Stamp and Die set, and I'm using this grungy-like paper because I want it to look like an old truck with some rusted out spots. So I'll get that stamped down on my paper. You can see what a cool truck this creates. Then I'll take the die, get that cut, run it through my Big Shot die cutting machine and get that all taken care of. And there's our cute little truck. Now to just add a little more detail, I will go around the tires, the running boards, and those fender wells, just using a little gray marker right here. You don't have to do much to this truck. You want that rusty look to be able to show through. So I'll quickly add just a little bit of detail, leaving some highlight on my fenders, and that takes care of the gray color. Then I'll simply bring over that little bit of blue marker to give my window a little shine, and the headlight with just a little yellow. So that takes care of all the details on our truck, and isn't it cute? Moving along to my card, it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I'm going to mat it with that plaid and top it with another sheet of craft. And this craft mat is what I'm going to actually run through my embossing folder. This is the leafy tree trunk. I use this quite a bit. It's from Doris, and this is the detail that it gives you. Then I'm going to speed this up for you, but I'm taking several markers, and I'm just going to color in all of that embossed area. Now, this alcohol marker will dry back lighter, which is fine. I will get all of those limbs done. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch all the detail of that. I'll just show you. I'm going around the limbs separately, and then I will go in to color the leaves. And this makes such a nice pop of color, as well as, having that dimension from the embossing folder itself. So I just picked a few colors that I thought coordinate well with the papers that I'm using. And I quickly get all of my leaves colored in, just staying on top of those embossed images. And before you know it, the whole tree is done and ready to be put on the front of our card. Next, I bring over my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo ink. I'm just giving my tree a little more dimension and going around all the edges of that matted craft cardstock. Again, adding a little more dimension and a little shading around my tree. Then that will go on the front of my card. And here is the truck that we cut out earlier. Now you can see I've got foam tape on the back, and I intentionally left the little area by the back of the pickup a little farther down because I'm going to be putting those pumpkins in the back of the truck. So here is that die. It stays all together and gives you 5 different sizes of pumpkins. And again, don't underestimate these little guys. They are so cute. It's got slits cut where the pumpkins naturally would have vertical lines. And they're just, you can get so many out of one die cut. Just one pass through your die cutting machine. So again, I used all those little scraps of paper and have myself a plethora of little pumpkins. Now, I'm going to add a little dark brown to my stems and come down a little bit on the bigger pumpkins. But this little extra step makes such a difference in the level of detail on these pumpkins, and especially when we're going to stack them in the back of the truck, the stem makes a big difference. Let me show you a little close-up here. Here is a pumpkin where I've colored the stem. And here is one without the stem colored. Now they're still cute the way they are, but I think by coloring the stem it just really makes that stand out. So to decorate the back end of my truck, I just stuck a large pumpkin down in the bottom so I could gauge where I need to put the ones up at the top, which will appear in the background of my whole composition. So that's the reason I started with the little pumpkin in the bottom, just to gauge where I should add these for the back of my truck. I'll get these put down. Most of them are glued down directly onto the craft. And then I've taken 3 separate pumpkins and added a little foam tape behind those, and they will be popped up towards the front of my truck. Just get a whole truck full of pumpkins here. There's one with the foam tape, and I've got another one on foam tape. Very little foam tape needed here. Now, this is coming along just beautifully. And I thought to finish this off, I want to add a couple of pumpkins there on the ground at the base of the tree. That brings my colors all the way across my card and kind of completes the whole composition with the beautiful fall colors here. So that is the card for today. I hope you'll take a look at some of your embossing folders. See if there's anything you can do to add some dimension and color for your cards. And I'm glad you dropped by to visit me today and see this video tutorial. I would love to hear your comments on this card, and I would also appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, subscribe, come by and visit my card blog or my YouTube channel. I post weekly videos, and I'd love to see you again next week. Happy crafting, everyone!